Would you ever trust someone again after they left you shattered, only to come back like nothing ever happened? I did, and I paid the price. My name is Ethan, I live in Charleston, and I thought my girlfriend just needed some time to think about marriage. What I didn't know was that during that break, she was out exploring her freedom with my friends, and when she decided to return, she didn't bring answers. She brought secrets. What you're about to hear isn't just a story about betrayal. It's about emotional manipulation, complicit silence, and the kind of doubt that eats you alive. Before we begin, subscribe to the channel and tell me in the comments which US city you're watching from, because I need to know if this story only resonates with me or with someone out there too. I remember exactly how Haley looked at me that Friday night. We were in the parking lot of a restaurant in Charleston, and she seemed nervous, like she was about to confess something serious. "I need a break," she said, fidgeting with the bracelet I gave her for her birthday. My heart froze. Marriage was something we had just started to talk about, but this felt completely out of place. There wasn't a fight, no drama, just awkward silence and I just need to think. For days I tried to make sense of it. Was I pushing too hard? Was she afraid of repeating mistakes from the past? I even blamed myself, thinking maybe I was rushing things. I went over every conversation in my head, all our good moments, the bad ones too. I remembered how she smiled at wedding dresses on Instagram, how she talked about kids. How do you go from all that to, "I need a break"? Something didn't add up, but I wanted to believe it was just a phase. We agreed to no contact for a month, no texts, no calls. "Let's give each other space," she said, trying to sound strong. I respected it at first. Focused on work, hit the gym, even hung out with old friends just to distract myself. But of course I thought about her every day. Our minds love filling silence with speculation, and mine went into overdrive. Then I broke my own rule. I checked her social media. I didn't know what I expected. Maybe to see her looking sad, introspective, posting motivational quotes or something. But what I saw was very different. Stories with her friends on rooftop bars, colorful drinks, loud laughter, and something caught my eye. Two of the guys in those pictures, I knew them. One of them was Trevor, my friend since high school, and this didn't look like a group just having fun. There was something off. That's when my internal alarm went off. I obsessed over it for days. Rewatched those stories looking for anything to calm me down, some detail that proved I was just being paranoid. But the more I looked, the worse it got. One caption hit me. "Freedom is a state of mind." It felt like a jab, or maybe just a coincidence. But too many coincidences stacked together feel like a message. That's when I started to wonder. Maybe the break was just a cover-up. Still, I wanted to believe it was just a rough patch. I found myself hoping this was all a misunderstanding, that she'd come back, say she missed me, and that the parties meant nothing. But once you start seeing cracks in trust, they don't go away. They spread. And right there, caught between what I saw and what I wished to believe the real story began, I really tried to move on. I got back to morning runs, doubled down at work, even threw a BBQ with old friends, something I hadn't done in years. But it felt like a dark cloud was hanging over everything. People kept bringing up Haley. I saw her at a party, with a crowd you know, right? Or, "Didn't know you guys split. I thought you were solid." These comments always came with a weird look I pretended not to notice. One day, someone DM'd me a screenshot. A chat between two guys we both knew. One of them said, "Can't believe Ethan still doesn't know who she was with that night." I froze. Until then, it was all speculation, maybe even paranoia. But this was something real. I started putting the pieces together, and the picture got uglier the closer I looked. That rooftop party, it wasn't just some harmless fun. She had hooked up with someone, and that someone was way too close to me. My head became a war zone. Why didn't anyone tell me? And why were my friends, the ones I trusted, acting like nothing happened? I didn't want to believe it, but the evidence kept piling up. A screenshot here, a careless comment there, even a story she deleted quickly, but not fast enough. Someone had saved it. She said, "I deserve to be happy, even if he never understands why." That wrecked me. But the worst part wasn't what she did. It was the silence of those who knew and said nothing. That kind of betrayal hurts differently. I began to realize my support system wasn't a net. It was a stage play where everyone pretended not to see. I spent days with a knot in my throat. I became obsessed with finding out who the he was. I replayed old conversations, guys she complimented, inside jokes I didn't get before, all now loaded with new meaning. One guy stood out, always a little too flirty with her, but I, like a fool, thought it was just jokes. Trevor was that guy, always making those "if you guys ever break up, let me know" type of comments. We laughed it off, but deep down, it bugged me. And now, every word, every look I had brushed off came crashing back. Could it have been him? I wanted to believe it wasn't, but the puzzle pieces fit too perfectly. Even with all that pain, a part of me still hoped she'd come back, deny everything, say it was just one stupid night. I rehearsed 1,000 conversations in my head, but what hurt most wasn't just her. It was realizing I had been made a fool, by her and by everyone who watched it happen. 3 weeks after that screenshot that confirmed it all, I was doing everything I could to forget Haley. I had muted her stories, blocked her name on social media, ignored mutual friends. And then out of nowhere, she messaged me. Just a dry "hey," followed by "can we talk?" My heart jumped like an idiot. Even though reason screamed at me, part of me still wanted to hear what she had to say. I wanted to look in her eyes and see if there was any real regret. We met at a quiet cafe in downtown Charleston. She showed up wearing the same perfume as always, like it was intentional. She didn't look nervous or guilty. Just said, "I think I made a mistake. I needed that time to realize how much I miss you." That hit me hard. It was exactly what I wanted to hear, and exactly what made me suspicious, because she spoke like nothing had happened. Like I hadn't spent weeks picking up the shattered pieces of my self-worth. Still, I said yes. Part of me believed that saying no meant throwing away years of love. Another, darker part, wanted to see how far she'd take this redemption story. The first few days were oddly smooth. Haley sent sweet messages, cooked at my place, laughed at my jokes like before. But inside, I had changed. Every word from her felt rehearsed. Every kiss made me wonder if it was guilt or strategy. I started noticing how she dodged certain topics. When I asked about that break, she changed the subject. I casually brought up Trevor once, and she choked on her wine. I realized she didn't come back to talk. She came back to bury everything. Like she could erase what happened just because now she decided to love me again. I acted fine, but every silence between us was torture. It felt like sleeping with a grenade under the pillow. Friends told me I was crazy for taking her back, but people watching from the outside don't know what it's like to live between love and suspicion. Every kiss came with a question. Every text was an analysis. Is she really being honest? Is Trevor still involved, just more discreet now? I wanted to trust her, but it felt like trying to swim while carrying a bag full of stones. And the weirdest thing? I started getting used to this new version of myself, the cautious smiler, the guy who kisses with one eye open, because Haley's love had returned. But it brought something else with it, a shadow, and that shadow followed me everywhere. A shadow called doubt. At first I thought it was just my imagination, the paranoia of someone who's been hurt, but the signs kept coming, and they weren't subtle. One night, Haley said she was going to bed early because she was exhausted. Later, she accidentally posted a story of a half-drunk bottle of wine on her close friends list. She forgot to remove me. When I asked her the next day, she said it was an old photo, and the way she said it, calm, direct, scared me more than if she had lied badly. Then came more cracks. Deleted texts, hidden apps, calls she wouldn't answer. She claimed she was swamped with freelance work, but her free time seemed to exclude me. When I asked if she wanted to sleep over more often like before, she said she needed space. That word again. The same one that had triggered the whole collapse. It felt like we were running in circles. Or maybe I was running and she was already at the finish line. Even the friends changed. The ones who used to greet me with hugs and jokes now avoided eye contact. Especially Trevor. He pulled away completely, stopped showing up to hangouts. When we did cross paths, it was awkward as hell. Like something was still unresolved. Like there was a conversation that had happened without me, and I was the only one left out. Everything smelled like cover-up. One morning, I showed up at Haley's apartment with coffee and croissants. Something simple, spontaneous. Something she used to love. It took her almost 2 minutes to answer the door. Her hair was wet, incense strong in the air, and there was a man's t-shirt on the couch. She said it was her brother's. But she doesn't have a brother. I stayed quiet, pretended I bought it, but that moment tattooed itself in my mind like a wrong note in a song you used to love. From that point on, I started pulling back. Emotionally. I still kissed her, still texted, still slept with her, but I was no longer really there. I was observing, testing, seeing how long she could keep up the act, and if I could survive the truth if it ever came out. It was like living with a ghost, and every day I asked myself, is today the day her past knocks on my front door? And even with all this, I couldn't leave, because instability becomes a drug. You know it's going to hurt, but you keep hitting that pipe. And the scariest part? I started to feel that maybe, just maybe, I didn't want to know the whole truth anymore, because facing it meant tearing everything down, and I wasn't sure I had the strength for that. Everything changed on a random Tuesday night. I was at Haley's place and she went to shower, leaving her phone unlocked on the couch. I swear I tried to resist, but something pushed me. A coward move, I know, but also human. I opened WhatsApp and scrolled quickly through her archived chats. That's when I saw the name, Trevor, and a preview of his latest message with a heart emoji and the words, "I missed that night." I froze. I tapped into the chat and it was worse than I thought. No nudes, no explicit messages, but the way they talked to each other felt intimate. It had history. It had something unresolved. There was a silent closeness in the words, way too soft for just friends. I closed the app before she came out of the bathroom, and I sat there pretending everything was fine, while I was completely shattered inside. I spent the rest of the night acting, pretending I didn't know, pretending I wasn't boiling with rage and sadness. But inside, a war had started. I wanted to confront her, but part of me also wanted to see how long she'd keep up the performance. It was like watching a play where I already knew the ending, just to see if the actor had the guts to lie all the way through. That night, she slept peacefully next to me, like everything was fine. The next day, I went straight to the point. "Are you still talking to Trevor?" She froze for a second, then said, "We text here and there, nothing major." I pushed, "Are you sure?" And she snapped, defensive, "What are you implying, Ethan? Are you snooping through my phone now?" That's when the blame shifted. She flipped the script so fast I found myself apologizing. Me, apologizing for finding out I'd been betrayed, at least emotionally. After that, she went cold for a few days. Distant, less affectionate. I started wondering if she knew that I knew, if this was her way of testing me now. At the same time, Trevor disappeared. He stopped showing up anywhere, vanished from socials. I couldn't tell if it was guilt or calculation or worse. Was he still in the picture, just deeper underground? I didn't trust anyone anymore. And the worst part? I wasn't even sure I trusted myself, because after all that, I was still there, stuck in a relationship where every moment felt like a riddle, every silence a disguised accusation, and yet I hadn't left. It was like my mind already knew what was coming next, and was bracing itself in quiet anticipation. I had made up my mind to leave. I even wrote a long text message, honest, slightly bitter, but without hate. I just never hit send. A day before I planned to walk away, Haley showed up at my door with a surprise. A getaway trip to Asheville, just the two of us to start fresh. She said we needed a new chapter. No friends, no past, no doubts. The timing felt strategic, and that scared me more than anything. I said yes. Against every warning, my gut was screaming. I thought maybe away from everything I could figure out what was still real between us. If anything, the trip was strange, beautiful on the outside, empty on the inside. The mountains, the trees, they all seemed to distract from the cracks. We had nice moments, forced laughs, expensive dinners, surface-level conversations, but the pain lingered, a silence full of questions no one dared to ask. On the third night, while she slept, I sat on the balcony of the lodge staring into the dark. I opened my old email, one I hadn't checked in years. Among junk and old subscriptions, there was one unread message. No sender. The subject line, "You deserve the truth." I clicked. One screenshot. A conversation between Trevor and another guy I barely knew but remembered from old parties. The date was from the same week Haley asked for the break. The message was clear. She said she's giving Ethan a break so it won't look like she jumped straight from him to you. And below. Trust me, bro. You're just one of the trials. I felt the floor drop beneath me. It was never about Trevor. It was about something bigger. A pattern, a game, a kind of emotional validation I never understood. I wasn't the exception. I was just another step in a cycle. I walked back to the room and stared at her sleeping face. Blonde hair, messy, peaceful expression. That same fake peace that had fooled me so many times. I wanted to wake her up, show her the message, scream at her, but I didn't. I laid down slowly and closed my eyes. That night, I slept beside a woman I no longer recognized, and maybe the scariest part is realizing I lost myself loving someone who never existed the way I thought. Months later, I was sitting alone on a park bench. I pulled out my phone. A notification. New message from Haley. I hesitated, then opened it. One sentence. We need to talk. About what you saw. My phone slipped from my hands, landing screen down on the pavement. I didn't pick it up. I just stared ahead, frozen. Like deep down, I already knew the worst was still yet to come. Sometimes what hurts the most isn't the betrayal itself. It's realizing you gave everything to someone who was just testing you. And the worst part? You only understand that when you're already too broken to fight back. But what about you? If you were in my shoes, and would you have walked away or opened that final message? Would you face the truth or choose to stay in the dark? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and let me know what kind of stories you want to hear next. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And before you go, don't forget to comment which US city you're watching from. Let's build a real community around real stories, because no one deserves to go through this alone.